Hey class, this is Professor Nick Sensky at UNC Charlotte, and this is a tutorial for Architecture 2101, Module 1. And we're going to do a little bit of site work, taking topo lines and trimming them and converting them into sections. Okay, so this is directly for your assignment for Module 1. The first thing you're going to need to do though is start off with the topographical map that we gave you, which is a PDF, and we need to convert it to an Autocad file and scale it, and we need to basically give it the layers that we had from the AutoCAD template that are already set up. So what I'm going to do is you should download the template and the topographical map, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to open up the topographical map, the PDF file, in Illustrator, okay? Illustrator is an Adobe product. You can open up PDFs and you can actually edit them, okay? So if you didn't know that, that's actually pretty important. And you can go into Illustrator and you can export it as a DWG. And I'm going to save it as the oldest AutoCAD version. The newer ones bring in some incompatibilities and some strange things. Don't scale the line weights. Don't, make it 1 inch equals 1 unit. That's totally fine. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do that. So go ahead and click OK, and it's going to save to your desktop. And then in AutoCAD, you can go ahead and open that up. So if I go to my desktop, there, open up this one. And there's our file. So you actually see that things are on 2 layers. Like there's some things on layer 0. Actually, they're different colors. Let's go ahead and select everything and just make the colors by layer, just so we're not confused. Let me get rid of this. Well, let's just keep that for now. I'm going to go ahead and select everything. So in order to do that, I could select everything with my mouse, but a way that's probably more accurate is just to say select and then all, ALL, and that'll select everything. And then let's just go ahead and say cut. We're going to cut and paste these. Oh, well, select objects, all. Okay. And then let's go ahead and we'll open up our template file. And the template has our layers already on it. It's already set up for printing, at least for PDF. So that'll help later. And then we're going to just go ahead and paste to it. So, and then we're going to paste it at 0, 0. So that puts it in the original location of the file. Now the issue though is that it's not scaled. Remember, it was 1 unit, and we want it to actually be, to be real scale, like 1 inch to 1 inch, because that's going to help us with scaling. Okay, so we're going to have to multiply it by 400 times 12. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me see here. Bust out the calculator. 400 times 12. I think I know what this is, but yeah, 4,800. Okay, good enough. So I'm going to go ahead and take everything, scale, specify base point, and the scale factor is going to be 4,800. Zoom, all. Okay, now let's take a look, and I'm going to go ahead, and I need to change the units in this file, so format units are going to be architectural. Press OK. Now we get our units down at the bottom here, and let's just, for reference, look at the lake here. So it's like 2,500. We go ahead and dimension this. Let's go ahead and go to dimension style. Modify it. Dimensions are set up for decimals. I want them in architectural. Now I can go through and look at the dimension and see if I did this right. Yeah, so it looks like the lake is 1,000 feet across. And that seems to be right. Let's take another measurement here. Let's measure the side of the park. And I'm just kind of fudging this, but let's see what they think. And 2,900 feet for that length of the park. That seems about right. Verify this by saying, you know, how many feet in a mile? So really, yeah, less than a mile. So that seems plausible, and that I mean, what we did should be right. I mean, if 1 inch equals 4,000 feet, then multiplying it by 12 foot, right? It's 12 for 12 inches in a foot, and then 400 feet ought to convert that units to feet. Okay, so. Yeah, I think intuitively that's pretty good. I don't think it's fully, I think it's about a little more than a half mile across. Not too bad, okay? That's how I would do it. You don't need to exactly follow that, but I just want to take you through my thought process there. So we're good, we're scaled, we got our lines in the file. The problem is, you know, our everything in the Franklin Park is on a single layer. So if you want to do some things with the line weights of the contours, you're going to have to adjust those different layers yourself. Okay, so we've got that. Go ahead and save that. You've got that file. So that's a pretty good start. And then just really quickly, I want to take you through a couple of commands, a couple of procedures for working with this file. Remember, we're going to be taking sections of something. So let's say like I wanted to take a section through, you know, from this hillside, you know, down through here. What I could do is I'm going to draw that line that I want for my axes. Like maybe that's what I'm interested in is this axis. And actually, just for now, I'm going to go ahead and change the layer of it to something that I can see, just so I can see it. I'll adjust the colors later, but I'm going to draw that axis, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset it. And you can offset a distance, but I don't really know the distance intuitively, so I'm going to offset it through, which means I'm going to click and draw a certain distance. And then when I offset it, it's actually going to give me these lines. Okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and finish them off. Return snaps on here. And then delete this. And this gives me a nice kind of box that's going to represent the section that I want to cut. Let me go and put this on the same layer too. Okay, not too bad. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim. And, you know, it makes sense actually, if you're going to be doing this, probably want to make a copy before you start trimming away at this site here. So I'm going to trim, and I'm going to use my box that I just created as my trimming field. And then what I'm going to do is use the for the trim command, I could go through and I could click, you know, each one. You can even select like this, and you can delete that way. And that works pretty well. The other thing you can do is do what's called a fence. You type in F, and then you can essentially draw another box around, and then whatever, and then press enter. It didn't, well, yeah, and then basically like whatever touches that fence gets deleted. You might find that there are some things that don't trim. It's because of the way the topo lines are. The fence honestly didn't work that well, maybe because there's just so many topo lines. But so you go through and trim away as much as you can here. right. So take that, and then I can go ahead and grab my objects here. Maybe just copy these out of there. Oops. Go ahead and delete these. This technique works pretty well too. Just delete most of what's in there. Actually, that was easier. Okay, so now I've got my chunk here. And what I want to do is I want to rotate it flat so that I can project lines off of it. You don't have to, but it can make it easier. It might be something like representationally that you want to do. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a horizontal line from that corner. And then I'm going to pick this and then deselect this by pressing Shift and clicking it. It's a really handy technique. Like if you want to pick everything except one thing, select everything and then deselect the thing that you don't want to select. Okay, by holding Shift. Okay, then I'm going to rotate this. So rotate. Base point is my corner point, and basically I'm going to do it by reference. So the reference angle is the corner to the edge, and the new angle is the end of this piece. And that's an easy way to rotate this. Okay. All right. So then what you can do, and I'm going to go ahead and change layers to, say, gray layer. So set current, make active. And then you could start projecting your lines down. And I'm just going to go ahead and start copying these. And I could take these lines, from the end here, or I should take them from the center. Just where I cut them originally. You could also do a line that's more jagged or something. Like you could take and make this the line you take sections from, and then trim this all away. Okay. You don't have to do it that way, the way I just did it. But we go ahead and project some lines down. And I'm just going to do it this way. Just copy them. I have intersect snaps turned on. So I've got those lines. And then I'm going to do something else here. Do an array. And these are 2-foot contours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a rectangular array. And I'm going to specify my corner. Let's see. I'm going to do it by a count. And the number of rows, it's going to be 1 row. Number of columns, it's going to be, let's say 20. And the spacing, oh wait, I did that wrong. Start the command over again. Okay, array. Select the object. Array type, rectangular. No, let's do count. Number of rows is going to be 20. Number of columns is going to be 1, because we just want like a bunch of this. And the spacing is going to be 2 foot, so 2 apostrophe. Okay. And maybe that's what we've got actually. If these are 2-foot contours, I might be right. Let's double check the length here, what we're talking about. $1,500 feet. Got this, the line set up. Go ahead and drop parallel line. And there's different ways to do this. I'm going to see how this works for us, but I'm going to go ahead and offset that line by 2 foot, because these are 2-foot contours. Okay. And you just kind of do it a bunch of times. You could also at some point just start copying these. Once you have a bunch of rows of these, it's probably easier. I could do an array also. Okay. So go ahead and I'm just going to start trimming these. Because each of these, right, as I step down is going to be a contour. You gotta be careful though, when I get to the lake, it's going to be a little bit different. Be really careful. In fact, as you go, it's probably not a bad idea to just go ahead and start getting rid of these two. Whatever helps you keep track of like what you're doing. Okay, and then this is the lake. Okay, and then on the other side, we actually start going back up. Okay, so then we start to add a row to each one. And that's pretty much it. Okay. Let me go ahead and kind of clean this up a bit. I lost one of my instruction lines here. Just a copy of this. Got kind of sloppy. Okay. Then I might do something like go to my 0.5 and just draw that line so that I have copy of that. That's nice and clean. And this is that kind of staggered line. A kind of chipboard, cardboard kind of contour. Okay, that's pretty good. And then what I can do is I can use that to trim. So my trim object's going to be this line. It didn't do it as a... but I should have made it as a polyline, actually. I made a mistake there. But now I can go ahead and get rid of most of these here. There we go. And then let's go ahead and get rid of these. Say trim. Turn that off. Just get rid of this garbage that's in here. Okay. Not too bad though. So I've got my now I'm understanding the kind of contours here, and then what I might do, and I'm just going to use a different color here to represent it. But if you have that, you can kind of take and spline it together. So you're just going to take the ends of this. I'm missing a construction line there. Fix that. And that would actually stop the spline when you get to the water. And I'm clicking and I'm panning with the middle mouse as I'm going. Yeah, so there's the end of the water there. I might trim that off, but okay. So that's how you get a smooth line. And again, I dropped a contour. So I'm going to go ahead and copy paste that. Probably trim it. Yeah. Alright. So you'd have to, really adjust your weights, and adjust your colors and things. This is really just for the demo. Like it's not very neat, but I did it so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So this is a procedure that you could take for cutting a section through something. Remember, there are lots of techniques. There's lots of different ways to do this, depending upon what you're trying to do. But if you've never actually kind of done this before, these are the operations that you would use. Okay. The next part is going to be your layout. You're going to want to go ahead, and I've really talked about layout quite a bit in the other videos, so I would like refer you to that. But what you can do for your large layout is you probably want to create a 36 by 24, because that's one of our plot sizes, because we have a 36-inch wide plotter. You can set it for different ones, but I'm going to go ahead and do this now. So set up the layout name as 36 by 24. And then you can go into the page setup and edit it. We're going to go ahead for the plot style table. We're going to use our UNCC plot style. And then your printer is going to be probably the 36-inch coated bond. You'll have to refer to the print lab for that. And then paper size. If you don't have a custom size for 36 by 24, you can make one. Go to Manage Custom Sizes, click plus, new paper size, and then you type in the 36 by 24. Okay. Or whatever you want your dimensions to be. Okay. And then that's going to create your custom 36 by 24. And then pretty much everything from there is pretty similar to the way it was last time. And what happens is that once you've got that layout set up, now your page is going to be 36 by 24 instead of the 11 by 17. So you've got a lot more room to work. Okay, and a really key thing for this assignment is the scale of things. You're going to need to play with different scales. Okay, and remember from, make this def points here. Remember from the video to change the scale of the viewport, click on it, and you'll go into miscellaneous, and you're going to go to standard scale. So let's take the section that I just drew, and let's put it in a window that is maybe, let's see what 16th scale looks like. It's probably going to be way huge, but actually let's see what we got here. Once you've got everything set up, you got your viewport window, you kind of make it the proportions of the drawing that you want to scale, and then you find the right scale for the drawing. And for now, you might have to do this kind of intuitively because you don't really understand scales, but this is very large, right? This is, I think we decided it was 1,500 feet across. So you're going to need a very large scale, like 1 to 60, 1 inch to 64 inches. Zoom in. You got to kind of get the thing aimed in the right direction first. Let's see what that looks like. It's pretty close, but that's pretty huge if you think about the size of our paper. 1 to 128 might be pretty good. It might be a little small, so we might want to split the difference and say like 1 inch equals 100 feet, which would be about a quarter of the size of the drawing that we got, the PDF file. And you could do a little bit of math to figure that out. You basically divide 1 by 12 and then divide that by 100, and that's going to be 1 inch to 100 feet. And in custom scale, that's basically 0.0008, which again is slightly bigger. Okay, and then you can kind of adjust the size of your window. Ooh, let's chop that off there. Okay. Watch those snaps. Or turn them off. And then double click out, and then you can kind of move this thing around and get it to where you need it to go. But pay attention to the size of things on your layout. Again, think about the size that they want to be. But for this one, because the contour, it takes a bit of space for it to show up for you to really be able to read it. You need to make sure it's large enough to read, but not, overwhelming, okay? And look at things at different scales. Like, this is a very large site. You may have to, to look at certain things, zoom into certain parts of it, look at them at different scales. Like, look at this piece at 1/32, or, moving in closer to look at something at like 1/8, okay? The scale changes things, and it changes what you need to represent when you zoom in that close, okay? So just bear that in mind. But this is just a really rough, it should give you a sense of the procedures you need to finish the assignment, okay? If you have questions, let us know. Otherwise, we'll see you on Monday.